A few episodes back, we tried to show our knowledge, or lack thereof, about dinosaurs in and around Great Falls. This time, we are bringing on an actual dinosaur expert to give you all the details and tell you how you can go on your very own dino dig. That's coming up on this episode of We're No Damn Experts.
Best damn podcast, the best damn town. You want to get up, get ready to get down. With its big wide sky and the wild river Thames, if you want to go, we can take you there to Great Falls, Montana.
Welcome to the greatest damn town in Montana, Great Falls. I'm Rebecca Ingham.
I'm Shannon Newth.
And we're No Damn Experts. Now, you made this dream happen faster than I don't think we've ever done it in the history of our podcast.
You're welcome. It was because he was here. Yeah.
We had a podcast episode that came out
Couple weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, where I made some pretty solid, huge claims about dinosaurs.
You pretended to be an expert.
I did. Now, in my defense, a lot of those things were relatively true.
From what we could find.
On the internet, because if you find it on the internet, it must be true,
obviously.
Correct? But
I found legitimate sources.
You said, no, let's bring in someone who can actually fact check her. So what did you do?
I did that.
Yeah.
Boom. Right away.
So what's going on
yes,
today?
So we have our guest in studio. We have Cory joining us from Bynum. And if you listened to our podcast before, you heard us talk about Bynum. Cory, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me down here.
So Cory, tell all of our listeners, what's your deal in Bynum? Why are you there? What is going on? And
so I'm the executive director for the Montana Dinosaur Center, which means I'm a paleontologist.
Ooh, there's the fancy term.
Like actually trained paleontologist, or one that just pretends to be?
Actually trained paleontologist.
Holy moly.
He's not pretending. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, folks, it's going to go downhill from here. So,
where did you do your training? How do you obtain the title of paleontologist?
Paleontologist. So paleontologist is just somebody who studies dead things, the past, fossils, all that stuff.
So it's not specifically dinosaurs.
No, it's not.
Okay. See, I always thought it was specific to dinosaurs.
So did I.
And I went to school down at Montana State.
Ooh, the good
which
one.
Is the good one.
That's where she went to. Yeah.
How do you end up in Bynum? We mentioned to our listeners that it might not be that big and there's not a whole bunch of amenities. So how do you end up there as a paleontologist? Was it your dream? Are you from the area?
So I grew up in Kalispell.
Okay.
Which, don't hold that against me.
Huh? Beautiful area.
And so I grew up looking for rocks and minerals and fossils, and ended up going to school. Was told to take a couple years off from my engineering training, and so I ended up going back to geology because that's what I really loved and that was my passion. So I did that, and then just a couple years before I finished my degree, I ended up going out on this field trip that with some friends, and it was to Bynum because Bynum, oddly enough, was doing field trips where they take people out and teach people about paleontology and about how we go about finding fossils and digging fossils. And I was good at it. I was good at finding stuff,
Nice.
good at spotting stuff. And so they asked me to come back and be one of their field instructors the next summer.
Oh.
And when I finished my degree, they asked me if I wanted to come back and run the place for them.
Well, that went from student to running the whole thing pretty quickly.
It did.
But he's good at finding
clearly.
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the only skill you need to be a paleontologist.
Or a director of a center.
Or a director. It's been a steep learning curve, but it's been a lot of fun and it's been really rewarding. So
how long now have you been in Bynum?
I moved there in 2010.
Okay.
So
So,
Almost 15 years.
yeah, practically the mayor now.
I've been called that before.
He's like, oh, yeah, that's true.
So, do you find it weird that this huge cultural center really for dinosaurs is in Bynum?
Absolutely strange. I like to say we employ like 25% of the town because Bynum only has about 31 people, and during the summer we have 8 staff.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But there's really 2 places you can kind of put a museum, a dinosaur museum. One is where there's a lot of people because you have a lot of funding to draw from and a lot of people that you can impact. The other one is where the dinosaurs are. So with 31 people, we are absolutely the first one.
Yes, you are obviously the big metropolitan area.
Obviously.
Yes.
Obviously. And there are quite a few dinosaurs in that area, even though it is near the Rocky Mountain front. And in my previous episode, I said, I find that strange because I always picture dinosaurs being like out in the plains where
tropical.
Yeah.
Way farther east, yeah. So we work in a rock layer called the Two Medicine Formation, and it runs basically from like Wolf Creek all the way up into Canada a little ways. And it's primarily famous for the eggs and baby dinosaurs and that sort of spectacular preservation, the really rare and unique dinosaurs that are found only there is really what the area is known for. But you're right. Most people picture the beautiful Badlands that eastern Montana is famous for. But for us, like, we find different animals here. We don't find T-Rex. We don't find Triceratops. We find their ancestors, Daspletosaurus, and we find Maiasaur and Prosaurolophus and all these other dinosaurs that you've probably never really heard of.
It's fun. I was like, this is fun hearing you say all of the names because I'm like, I've heard like, T-Rex, obviously, but like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So are they older or they have to be older than the stuff we're finding on the plains?
Yep. They're a little bit older. They're about,
okay.
So T-Rex went extinct. The T-Rex lived at the very end of the dinosaurs. They went extinct about 66 million years ago.
Okay.
That's what you find farther east up in the Hell Creek Formation. Our dinosaurs are between about 80 and a half and about 75 million years ago. So we're about 10 million years before T-Rex went extinct.
Just a little bit before.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, we're talking about such a vast time frame. Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought an expert because this is so much better than what we did.
This is a perfect follow-up already. Yes. Just so you know, the title of the episode where we just talked about it was called Not a Platypus, because platypus was brought up as
not a type of dinosaur. But in my
Shoe man.
defense,
the
I was
duckbill.
thinking duckbill platypus, and so I said platypus, but it was a duckbill dinosaur. So,
I get the connection.
yes,
So
like
this
I
is
was
why
super
you're here,
close
because
and warm
you
on
said
that one.
platypus. Is there any ancestral relation to the platypus? I'm trying to help you out here.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, eventually, you go far enough back,
Right.
everything is related.
So there you go.
There you go.
Good job.
So let's talk about first a little bit more about this Two Medicine Formation where we did find eggs. Is that all connected? So is the Montana Dinosaur Center connected to anything to do with Egg Mountain?
So we work in the same formation.
Okay.
Egg Mountain is actually owned by another organization called Museum of the Rockies down in Bozeman.
Oh, they do own that.
Egg Mountain. They own Egg Mountain.
Yep, Egg Mountain proper.
Okay.
Huh.
Egg Mountain proper.
Egg Mountain proper,
you could,
like a city.
you could walk past and never know it was there.
Right.
It's not actually a mountain. It's more like a little mound. But
Okay.
There's a big brown sign still that says Egg Mountain if you're driving down the road, right?
yeah, and that's not where it is.
What? Why is it
It's
not
in
where
the
it
general
is?
area.
You can see it there if you know where to look. But
Okay, so that's a clarification then from our episode is where you see the sign that's not actually where it is.
No.
Okay. For
Well,
those
that's for the safety of all of the eggs in Two Medicine Formation.
Okay.
absolutely.
So tell us, for those who missed our last episode, or just for actual clarification, tell us, what is Egg Mountain? What is the significance of that area?
So Egg Mountain is the first place in North America where dinosaur eggs were found. And a lot of that was kind of spurred by the discovery of baby dinosaurs back in 1978. So baby dinosaurs there were the first baby dinosaurs found in a nest anywhere in the world.
Oh, wow.
They were the first evidence for dinosaurs actually taking care of their young. And it really kind of started this dinosaur renaissance where people started to look at dinosaurs like we do modern animals, modern ecology, and try to figure out, what are these animals actually doing? Because people used to think dinosaurs were just these great, big, dumb lizards that just really didn't do anything. They ate, slept, and laid their eggs, but they didn't take care of them. They laid them and left. And so Egg Mountain is the area where those first and many other discoveries have come from that have kind of driven that renaissance and that era of discovery.
And that was something we had talked about, and you were correct about before, is this whole concept of the actually caring for their young or their eggs or their babies, because there was this notion that they didn't have any type of parental instinct before that.
Right, exactly.
So, how well does the Montana Dinosaur Center and Museum of the Rockies play together? Do they call you when they're in the area and they're like, "Hey, Cory, you want to come over and look at some eggs?"
It hasn't always been that way, but we're working towards that.
Okay.
We're trying to build relationships with people here in Montana, because we all love Montana. And unfortunately, this is the politics part.
Sure.
Go for it.
Unfortunately, most of the fossils that are found here leave here.
Are they in the
correct.
East Coast?
They're on the East Coast.
You were correct about that too.
They're
Good job.
in Europe. They're in China. They're in Dubai. They're everywhere but Montana.
Now, one of the claims I made, Cory, was that most of the dinosaurs on display in the East Coast and, let's say, the world, most of those dinosaurs come from Montana.
That's a hard one to verify. I can verify that there are dinosaur fossils from Montana in almost every major museum in the world.
Okay. See, that's good.
Boom.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that as an accurate fact I shared on our episode.
An accurate fact. Shouldn't that be?
You start looking at places like the British Museum, the Natural History Museum in London, the Natural History Museum in Vienna. Like, they all have fossils from Montana.
Okay.
A lot of them are purchased. A lot of them are. A lot of them were, especially the ones on the East Coast, were collected back in the late 1800s when there was no regulations on them. It just kind of depends, but yeah, most places do have fossils from Montana.
So, Cory, what makes Montana so special? And before you answer that, our neighboring states seem to be similar to Montana from a landscape standpoint. North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Idaho. Are they digging up dinosaurs, or are we the only ones, and are they only concentrated here for us? Or north into Alberta?
So there are dinosaurs all through the West.
Okay.
There are dinosaurs in Idaho. There are dinosaurs in Wyoming. There's dinosaurs in Utah. There's dinosaurs in North Dakota, South Dakota. I don't know if there's any in Nebraska. Nebraska might be too young. But really, it comes down to looking at the age of the rocks that are on the surface. So in some places, the rocks that would have been laid down when the dinosaurs were alive, a lot of the time, either those rocks are eroded away or they're buried too deep. You're never going to find anything in them. So you have to find that sweet spot where you've got the right age rocks and the right kind of rocks to save dinosaurs and preserve them. And Montana has 12 different layers, we call them formations, that have dinosaurs in them, all the way from the Jurassic all the way through the end of the Cretaceous.
This is a lot. My brain's trying to wrap
Well,
wrap
it's
itself
like going back
around
to
this.
young, like when you were in elementary school
Yeah.
science stuff that you're learning that you forgot about unless you
yeah.
are a paleontologist.
Right.
And then you remember them more better than the rest of us.
And you said it was, the late 70s when the eggs in the Egg Mountain area were discovered. Is that correct?
Yep.
It's crazy, though, to think about. I mean, the late 70s, not that long ago.
Not that long ago.
We're talking about dinosaurs, long time ago. What do you think that there were discoveries of them before the 70s and it was just like not written down? We don't know what this is, or what happened in the 70s that all of a sudden we're finding?
Was there somebody building their house and
Yeah.
they're like, what did we just dig
Yeah.
into?
So dinosaurs were first discovered in Montana. Montana has the first dinosaur remains from North America. They came from here. It was during the Hayden survey. That was 1857
Okay.
when those were actually published.
Whew.
There were 4 species. I never remember the names except Troodon. Troodon is the only one that matters anymore because it's the only one that is still valid.
Oh, that
wait.
seems like a whole other
It seems like a big deep dive here.
It
Yeah.
is a deep dive. You end up getting so those 4 dinosaurs were all teeth. They were weird little things that people found,
Okay.
and all those teeth, we've figured out in the last 150 years that that 3 of those types of teeth, there's not enough information there to say that this is a distinct, unique dinosaur.
Okay.
So when you end up doing that, we call it being a nomen dubium.
That's a cool word.
That is a cool,
Cool
non-dubium.
Latin word. It just means that is not really a thing. It's not really a real animal, or not
Okay.
definable. I forgot where I was going.
So even though you have like a tangible thing, you're like, oh, this isn't a thing.
Yeah, this isn't a thing. We can't tell enough
Okay.
from this remain to be able to say this is a distinct dinosaur.
Okay.
But we do
But the
have one.
But Troodon.
Was distinct enough that it is still a dinosaur.
Okay.
Well, that's good. Did
Yeah.
we find more than just teeth with him?
Up until the 80s, not really.
Okay.
Okay. Because it was the 1850s. You said
1850s.
when these like kind of 4 different were found, and then the Troodon was the one that has-
Truodon.
Right, and Troodon remains are exceedingly rare from anything but teeth.
Okay.
And so up until the 80s, we didn't really. There was one place that they found a bunch of them, and that was really the first time we've had enough information to be able to say what the animal actually looked like, even other than just finding the teeth.
Yeah.
So, Cory, since the 1800s to today, technology has changed, but the pictures we see of people who are going on fossil digs are still using paintbrushes and shovels. So, has technology impacted how we find dinosaurs? I have to assume it has affected how we preserve and keep them safe and research them, but finding them.
So as far as finding them goes, a little bit.
Okay.
Technology has done a little bit. Things like drones make it easier to get places.
Oh, yeah.
But ultimately, you still have to go out there and walk around and look for them. There is no technology that says, hey, you should go over and there's a dinosaur in the ground right there.
Yeah. Right.
That doesn't exist.
There's not like a metal detector, but for dinosaur bones.
No,
I
unfortunately.
feels like we should have that at this stage.
I would like it if that would make my job
There
a
you
lot
go.
easier.
You found that, then you'll get to retire and you can just go
Oh,
use your
yeah.
new technology.
Well, that would be nice.
Wouldn't it?
It would be.
You
Let's-
can
okay.
you can credit it. You just give us a shout out when you do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Deal. Okay. I'm curious. You ended up in Bynum. You're from Montana. Have you gone all over the world on your paleontology adventures?
So as far as paleo goes, I've really just focused on Montana.
Cool. Yeah.
You know,
Well, because it's the
it's
best.
the best, right? It makes sense.
right.
We're the first. We're the most.
Yeah.
We're the best.
I don't know how else to say that.
Right.
So we have over 100 different species of dinosaurs that can be found here.
Wow.
Like,
Wait.
I don't
in
need to go
comparison,
anywhere else.
no.
Right. In comparison, 100 different species can be found here. How many different species of dinosaurs are known today?
I used to say about 1,000.
Okay.
Now
That's dwindling.
No, it just
expanding.
fluctuates and goes and changes. I'm guessing now it's probably closer to 2,000
Okay.
worldwide.
Wow.
So like 5% of all the dinosaurs known can be
Right
found
here.
here.
Yeah, which is a
Big
pretty
deal.
big like concentration in
huge.
this area.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can you just think back to what it was like having 100 different species of dinosaurs just
right
roaming
here.
around?
Yeah. Would have been cool to see.
It would have been.
Right?
So at the Montana Dinosaur Center, tell us what people can experience. We have people who know nothing about dinosaurs or people who are like, I'm going there because I love dinosaurs. What can you do at the center?
So really what our kind of claim to fame is and why we are where we are is we do public field programs. We take people out with us. We teach them about paleontology, the area, the history of the area, and about how we go about finding and excavating. We teach people about everything. And we do it in a hands-on way. So it's not the typical, oh, you can stand behind this thing and watch these people work.
Yeah.
We get them involved. We get them so that their hands get dirty, so that they're actually making a difference and helping us.
You're putting them to work.
We're putting them to work.
It's a really unique way to get free labor.
Exactly.
And so we teach them that, and we do our best to make it as hands-on as possible, because like that's really where that education is powerful, and those experiences.
So obviously people get real excited about dinosaurs. How do they sign up for these field days? Is it like every day this is happening? Is it an all-day excursion?
So we do two main ones. We have a 3-hour, which is kind of just a walk around for people who don't really want to get dirty. They don't really,
Yeah.
they just want to kind of see what it's like and see about how we go finding them. And then we do our full day field trips, field expeditions, which actually we take people to a quarry and put them to work.
Okay.
And you sign up. We do them almost every day of the summer from June 1st all the way through the end of August.
Holy
Wow.
moly.
And the only days we don't do them is Tuesdays and July 4th.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's a lot of trips. How many of these are you leading?
So
Every one of them.
every one of them. I go out maybe once or twice a week.
Okay.
It's unfortunately when you're in charge of everything, you have to.
Yeah, you
Stay in the
don't
office.
have the fun job.
Right. No.
Everybody else gets to go ahead and have all the
Yeah.
fun, and I have
Yeah.
to do all the work.
Sounded great. And then you're like, yeah, I'll be the boss. And you're like,
Oh, the
this
boss
sucks.
means paperwork and
Paperwork and
budgets
writing
and
and budgets and
grants.
Are there are there pre-qualifications for who can do these two different trips?
Nope.
Okay. Anybody can do
anybody
either
can
one.
do it.
Is there a cap? Like you're only going to allow 10 to 20, 30 people?
We usually try to keep it to 10 max.
Okay.
Just because like you get many more than that, and it takes
It's
away
like
from the
herding cats.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just takes away from it. It starts to make it not as cool of an experience, I think.
I agree.
We don't have any age limits.
Okay.
You know, we've found that my boss started doing this back in the 80s, or my previous boss. So 45 years. In 45 years, we've found that adults are just as problematic as little kids.
Or probably more.
Yeah.
I've met
Sometimes.
some of us adults.
Yeah, we can be a problem.
So like, why do you exclude kids when adults can be problematic? So we don't.
Right.
We'll take anybody with us.
Very cool.
Cool.
So how long, you said the ones where you don't want to get dirty necessarily are like 3 hours. How
Yep.
long is I want to get my hands dirty tour?
So it goes from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So
Okay.
about 8
Ooh.
hours.
Okay.
Do you get a sack lunch?
Yep.
Perfect. How much do these cost for people to be
So
involved?
They're $225 a day,
Okay.
and you just sign up on our website. It's tmdinosaurcenter.org.
I'm going to say that is really an affordable
You get
experience.
That experience. Yeah.
That is an in-depth, amazing day-long experience with a lunch. And then you can go to the Wilderness Club afterwards and have a beer and feel like
She's all about the follow-up.
real
of it.
big. I had a massive day doing good
Dig
things
in.
in the world. I need myself a ditch.
Yeah. Make it a ditch.
Yeah.
There we go. I tie everything in. You give me
Pulling in
enough
all of our
time.
past episodes. Okay. So what what can I experience? Like, am I getting a shovel? Am I down with like the toothbrush? Like, what does it look like for people out there?
So it just depends on the day.
Okay.
Some days you'll be doing screening. You'll be looking through stuff that we've already dug out for little microfossils, little teeth and claws and all this little
Things that are obviously noticeable that they would belong to a dinosaur.
dinosaur or other animal.
Okay.
Because we want to collect all the other information as well. Sometimes they're fish scales. Sometimes they're lizard bits. Like, it just kind of depends.
Now, are these things that are out, are you placing things back out there so people find things, or are these?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't have time to go and do all that.
Hoping not, but yeah. Okay.
So it's luck of the draw. You might see something, you might not.
Yeah, and then we also try to get people involved with the brushes and the awls, and sometimes if the rock is hard enough, hammers and chisels. It just kind of depends on the day and the site we're working.
Yeah. Wow. And does it start? Like in the classroom, basically, like at the center before you head out?
We have a little bit of a drive, so about an hour and 20 minutes to get to our quarry.
Okay.
So we do a lot of the education and talking about that stuff
On the bus.
on the truck.
That makes sense. Yeah.
All the safety briefings, no throwing of sand or fossils.
Yep.
Or
We make sure you have closed-toed shoes because working in a rock quarry with sandals is not ideal.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like a good plan. Yeah.
And there's grasshoppers out there. You don't really want grasshoppers getting in your sandal. That's a mess.
So gross.
Really, anywhere near you? That sounds not fun.
No.
Let's just talk about grasshoppers and how weird they are. Like, when they jump on you, it feels like they've got, I don't know, suction cups, and they're the freakiest bug to have land on you. I just don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
They're the grossest.
They are kind of gross.
Like, they hop all over the place. They are springboard on them. When they get on you, like, they stick on you. And I'm like, why? What is on you?
I'm not sure
Don't
I've had
like
one
'em.
land on my bare skin before.
Oh, you've not. I don't think you can call yourself a Montanan.
Okay, that's
Okay.
fine. That's fine. If that's what qualifies, that's fine.
Oh, they get down your shirt. They are
I've
a weird
not had
bug.
one down my shirt.
Oh, well, again.
I've had a bee. Never mind. I've had a bee in my shirt before. That's another story. Yeah,
You better watch what you say because pretty soon you're going to have one.
yeah, right. We're like, why is my
think that's-
office filled with grasshoppers?
I think that's why Cory wears long sleeve shirts.
Absolutely. Is there, for people listening, they're planning out their summer to come visit the Great Falls area. Is there what you would say like an ideal day or week throughout the summer that's to go out there? Because I'm also picturing it like you need to be okay with it being pretty hot out there if you're going in July.
I would say June, July.
Okay.
August can start to get a little bit
Sweltery.
a little bit hot and sweltery. Unfortunately, we don't do them in September because we don't have land access. But
September's a great time.
the best month to travel Montana, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to start a petition or talk to the landowner for you?
I'm
or?
working on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just takes time.
It takes time, and there's
Money.
hunters out there, and
Yeah.
and grizzly
don't
bears.
really
That's when they're
wanna-
all trying to get fed and denned up, and
Yeah.
Well, and it does make sense. You
There's
would
a lot
want
of
to
factors.
bring a bunch of people out to feed the grizzly.
Mm-hmm.
There could be some ramifications there that are not good.
I've
You
got
are.
stories.
You are at the base of the Rocky Mountains, which is why grizzly bears become a little bit more of a concern because they just wander out all the time.
Yeah, we had
Their land.
We had two of them on our quarry last summer, so
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Okay.
we see them every summer probably.
Yeah.
do you start making noise and jumping up and down, or are you loud enough as is? They just deter themselves from you.
Well, we're generally pretty loud, but last year was a little bit weird because they were coming back. Like they were there in the
Oh.
morning, and then they showed back up in the afternoon, and
They're like, "Hey, you guys are still here."
Yeah.
and some of the people we had they didn't want to listen very well.
Oh, probably the adults.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The adults who think they know better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even imagine I mean, we deal with some weird things here,
Yeah.
but when you add in the layer of being able to dig for dinosaurs, tell us, Cory, some of the weirdest questions you've had to
Oh
answer?
yeah, I like that one.
The weird questions. See, they don't seem weird to me.
Sure. Okay, maybe the most common ones you
Well, how about
answer then.
this? We have a famous rain buffalo as a work of art on our River's Edge Trail.
Yep.
In the most recent year, I have been asked more times than not if it's real. And I'm not quite certain what they mean. Like, is it an actual statue, or is that an animal that can be found in the wild?
Or is it like is it like a taxidermied bison?
Right. So I'm like, well, it is as real as our mermaids. So I don't know. Like, you're not going to find a hybrid bison and rainbow trout. Like, they didn't meet and their genetics combined. So, like, you're not going to find that anywhere. Yeah. So I don't.
Anything like that?
Probably the weirdest ones are people that are like very metaphysical based, and so you'll get questions about things like do the bones have any powers, or do they have any sort of
I was not expecting you to say that. Yeah.
Right. Or people who believe in like mediums and things like that. Like, do you talk to the dinosaurs? They're dead.
And don't speak English.
My language.
Yeah.
Right. And so those are probably the weirdest ones, but that really
that's fair.
doesn't happen very often.
Okay.
What are then some of the most common things people are asking when they're out there? Can I take this home?
Can I take this home?
Do you get thievers who just slip it? Oh.
Yep. We've had people try to steal stuff off of our quarries.
Oh, man.
Which honestly, that's the biggest reason we'll probably stop doing field programs. It is what it is.
People, stop it. You're ruining it for everybody.
Right, and that's just it.
Just a small percent.
That's frustrating.
It's the way the world works
It is.
anymore.
That's so frustrating, though.
Well, and like people just don't understand that like we this is information. This is data that we're collecting and trying to keep here, and every bit is important. We may not know what that bit means until we put it into the context of what does this quarry mean? What are the animals we're finding here? But yeah, it's a real challenge, and it's one of the hardest things to teach too. Is that yes, these are important, and it's important that we have all of them rather than just no. You can just take it home and put it on your doorstep and or put it on your mantle for somebody else to see.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, you can go to Western Montana and dig for gold and rubies and that kind of stuff.
That's what I was equating it to. I'm like, if you find a tiny piece of gold somewhere, you can take
it home.
Yeah.
Do you catalog and then store a lot of these fossils at the Montana Dinosaur Center, or do you send them off to somewhere else?
So we do everything. So everything we collect stays right there in Bynum. Eventually we might get to where we start to loan stuff out and do like maybe some traveling exhibitions, but everything we collect right now stays there. We catalog it, we store it, we house it, we take care of it, and we're committed to doing that for the long term.
Do you have intact dinosaurs on display in the Dinosaur Center?
Okay, so intact, that is a very, very relative word.
Ooh.
For a paleontologist, a paleontologist might call a dinosaur, and it might be one bone.
Okay.
If that is distinct enough and weird enough that we can say
you can like classify it and you know other things about it based on that.
Yes.
Okay.
We will call that a dinosaur. Are there any 100% complete dinosaurs? Probably not in Montana.
They've been shipped to the east.
But we've contributed parts to those.
But no, like we generally don't find them that way. We find 10%, 20%. Really, you only need half of a dinosaur to know every bone in the body.
Interesting.
Yeah, because we're symmetrical. Like you or me, we have an eye on the right and an eye on the left. Like
so I only need one eye to know.
Right, you only need one eye.
Split it down the middle.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Dinosaurs the same way, so you need half.
Okay.
And you can have the right leg and the left arm. Like it can get wild what you find.
But so intact, What does that mean then?
For you,
Yes.
For me,
a fossil.
well, it depends. For me, like if somebody says an intact dinosaur, I want something that's at least 50% complete.
Okay.
Something that I have enough of the bones that I can say this belongs to this species of dinosaur, or I can say that this is new. This is something different.
Okay.
Because there's always two options when you find something. Either it's something that is known or something that is unknown. And you never know that until you get it out of the ground, you get it cleaned up, and you see all the bones.
Which is why it's important that people don't take things.
Exactly.
Don't ruin it for the world, people.
I know. That makes me really frustrated.
Gosh. I mean, honestly, what are you going to do long term? You're not a paleontologist.
Right.
You're not
building the
Right.
full dinosaur. Yeah. Yeah.
If you really want something for your mantle, you can get a copy. You can get a cast, paint it up really nice. It'll look exactly like the bone. You can tell all
You
your
can
friends
tell
it's
people.
the real one.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a gift shop they can buy stuff from.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Well, and I was listening to an audiobook, and they were talking about how with like really famous paintings or artwork, you'll get the artwork, but you'll get a duplicate, and the duplicate is what you hang because you don't want to mess up the original. It's like, well, that's no fun if I have the original. But point being, kind of
Right.
similar concept with the fun. Just do a
Yeah.
Yeah.
makeshift one, and then you can say, this is a replica of that, and I have this story.
Yep.
How far in advance do people have to book for these excursions?
I usually suggest as soon as you know you want to come out,
Okay.
because they do fill up.
I bet.
But sometimes 2-3 days.
Okay.
Okay. So
like
you
we're-
can,
We're pretty
You can try
flexible that
last
way.
minute
It's-
too.
Yeah. If you try last minute, no guarantees, but
Yeah.
yeah.
You can always ask.
Yeah.
worth a try. What other dinosaurs or things have we not talked about that's out in your area
Oh, in our area. I don't know.
or
so
around
much cool
here,
stuff.
wherever?
How many species do you have inside the Bynum Dinosaur Center?
Probably thinking about it. Probably 10 or
Okay.
15.
Yeah.
That's a lot because that's not a huge center.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big deal
Right.
and it's a big feature in Bynum, but it's not like it's acres wide.
Right. But really,
Right.
that's a lot. Mm-hmm.
Wow. I would have never guessed that.
No.
Some of them, well, and that's just dinosaurs. If we start to look at things like lizards and crocodiles and things like that, there's even more.
What is probably the strangest thing you found in your digs? Most
There's
surprised by, I guess, maybe is a better way to say that.
most surprised by. We have a nodosaur that is one of the. It's one of the
I love all
armored.
the names. It's just fun.
It's one of the armored dinosaurs, the ones without the tail club.
Okay. I was like, what does an armored mean?
So
Okay.
armored dinosaurs
They
are
got
things
the
like
shells.
yeah, ankylosaurs, ankylosaurs, stegosaurs.
Okay.
Kind of one of those guys. Anyway, it was found in the middle of a road as we were walking to another quarry, and we'd been walking over this thing for 3 months. And finally, one day, like I just sat down and
Dirt gravel road, I'm assuming.
dirt road.
Okay.
And I sit down and looked, and there was this little piece of armor just sitting on top of the ground, and we literally walked over it probably hundreds of times
Oh my gosh.
and never saw it.
Wow. Well, how
Until
I mean,
that day.
yeah.
And then we started digging in the next summer, and there was probably, we ended up with over 120 pieces of armor and over
Wow.
100 bones from that animal.
Oh
most,
my gosh.
Most dinosaurs have about between 200 and 300 bones. So,
you
Holy
got a lot.
moly.
yeah, like there was like a lot of it.
Wow. So what
He
made you
just
finally
died and stayed there.
Yeah, just what made you finally notice? Like what ended up catching the
Magic
eye
in
for
the
that?
bones.
Yeah.
I'm just good at finding stuff, remember?
Yes, I do.
I think I just sat down there for someone. I was waiting for somebody to climb the hill. So,
Well, that was a nice serendipity.
Divine.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Divine intervention.
Yeah. How big is the Cory?
So which one?
Well, the one you take the trips, field trips or with the guests?
So the current one we're working it's really weird. So dinosaur bone beds, it's a bone bed, which is just a layer of rock that has a lot of bones in it.
Okay.
They're generally deposited horizontally, so parallel to the surface of the earth. And but this one has been pushed up by the mountains, so it's actually vertical.
Oh.
And so the amount of it we have that we can see is from one end to the other. The exposure, so it's really hard to say exactly how big it is.
Sure.
It's about 100 meters.
Okay.
So 100 meters is about 4 inches longer than a yard, and so almost a football field long.
Wow.
And we have no idea how deep it goes.
Okay.
Oh.
The area we're digging on it right now is about 10 meters long.
Okay. Wow.
And so it's pretty good size.
Yeah.
It's a big one.
So when I asked how big the Cory is, and you said which one, how many Corys do you
How
have?
many do you have? How many do you have access to?
So right now we only have access to one that we're really
Okay.
working on. In the past, we've done other digs on other places. Some quarries are the size of this table, so 2 foot by 3 foot, 2 foot by 4 foot. Other ones are 30 foot back and 40 foot long. It just kind of depends on the individual animal and how that animal ended up getting there.
Yeah. And is this just without going down the political road too much? Is it terms of like public versus private land and how you're able to find or have access to things?
So we only work on private land right now.
Okay.
Eventually, we're hoping to build the museum to the point where we have access to public land and we meet all the regulatory requirements for that.
Okay.
But that's a long-term goal for us.
And director level work.
Yeah. I was like, what
Right.
you got yourself into as the boss there?
How can I plan for this and get us there in the next decade?
Yeah. Yeah. That's stuff, you don't necessarily think about. You're like, oh, dinosaur bones. Let's go find them. And
Yeah.
it's more
All the
complicated
rules
than
and-
that.
Yeah. There's a whole set of new things as you start to dig into that, dealing with mineral rights and all these other things that you can extract from the ground. And
Yeah.
big director level discussions
Big,
and
yep.
issues. And so your wife is also into dinosaurs. Are your kids into dinosaurs yet?
So I only have one kid right now.
Oh.
And he's 2, so he's not quite into dinosaurs yet. He really likes trucks.
Oh, well, that seems appropriate.
Yeah.
We use trucks to get dinosaurs
Right.
out.
So
So,
that works.
it
We'll
could
get
work.
there.
Yeah, I always think it's interesting. My husband and I have no similar
Interests.
grand interests. Yeah, it's a marriage built really solidly on no communication and no shared interests. Works for us. I shouldn't say it that way, but like our work is so different.
Yes.
That I always think it's cool when you find couples whose work is so similar. Like you go home and you can talk, like you and Jason can talk
Yeah.
about the same things. And
Yeah.
I
There's
just
an
look at my
understanding.
husband and go, yeah, we're not going to, there's just no.
We can't. It has its advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what does your wife do then, or what is her interest? Because I don't know her. I know you know her, but
Yeah.
So right now she's a school clerk.
okay.
And so she's dealing with a lot of the grant stuff for Bynum School. And
So you can share notes on the administrative side of work.
Right.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Well, I just think it's awesome that this asset exists in
Oh,
Bynum,
it's so cool.
which is not that far away from Great Falls. Easy day trip out there. And
especially if you're going to the park.
right.
Yes. Yep. That's a good point.
And the amount of uniqueness that is sitting along the Rocky Mountain front, again,
Yeah.
just amazes me because I would have never expected dinosaurs there.
No, especially not up against the mountains, kind of middle of
Yeah.
nowhere in terms of population, things
Yeah.
like that.
Right.
I don't know much at all about what I'm about to say, but
It's perfect for our podcast.
Yes, it's my understanding that there have been fossils or bones found with some remnants of skin on them somewhere in the world. Is that happening in Montana? Have we found those in Montana? Is that a thing?
So for dinosaurs, at least, it's not exactly skin per se.
Okay.
What we're talking about is skin impression. It's where think about if you have clay, if you've ever done anything with ceramics, you know how you push your hands into the clay, and if you pull it out, you can still see your fingerprint. Mm-hmm. It's like that.
Okay.
Usually, that's associated with dinosaur bones.
Okay.
So you find bones that are covered in this impression, and so you can figure out what the surface texture of that animal looked like. There are a few cases, not really many in Montana, where you get very, very spectacular preservation, where you end up getting things like feathers preserved, which are the original feather. They come as these little carbon films that are on top of the bones. And you can actually use those. The kind of the bleeding edge of paleontology is called molecular paleontology. And you're looking at these molecules in these carbon films to figure out what color that feather or what color that thing would have been. And so there is some of that, but not really in Montana. Montana, we haven't found the right rocks for that.
Okay.
But we do find a lot of skin impression where an animal is laid up against the matrix, against the mud that it died in, and its skin is still, that impression is still preserved.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I've heard bits and pieces of things like that, and obviously I don't have the understanding or perspective of the paleontology background, but I always just thought that was fascinating that we're continuing to discover new things constantly about dinosaurs.
Right. So just as an example of that, like there's a new dinosaur about every week, every 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh,
coming
really?
From somewhere in the world.
Wow.
Jeez,
That's
moly.
crazy.
Think about this. We've also been studying and digging up dinosaur fossils in Montana for 150 years. The first T-Rex is from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're still finding new species.
Yeah.
Every year, every 2 years, there's at least one new species of dinosaur that is named from Montana.
Huh.
Why do you think it is that we've had so much advancement? Like, in the course of time we're talking about 150 years, really small time window. Why do you think, like, seemingly all of a sudden we're making these great discoveries?
Why are we making these discoveries now? That's a
Loaded question.
That's a deep thing to go down. I think part of it is there's more people out there looking and doing it.
Okay.
Start back in the 1850s, like you could probably count on two hands the number of people who were working in the West. Now there's thousands of people that are all working in the West to learn about dinosaurs and do research and find new stuff.
Paleontology is more of a degree that people want to get now. Dig into things.
Yeah, you get to dig into it for sure.
It's interesting to think because in the mid 1800s, I mean, really wasn't that long ago, people didn't know about dinosaurs. Like, when did we decide that this bone that we found, like, that seems like a pretty fast evolution of, like, I found this bone to now there's a whole, education dedicated to it and centers dedicated to it. And now we, how did we find this first bone in, 1800s and be like, this is what we're now calling dinosaurs. Like,
so the first dinosaurs, I never remember the dates right, they were found in the UK.
Okay.
And by Sir Richard Owen. And he did a lot of, he actually coined the word dinosaur.
Okay.
And before that, they just called them bones. They called them by their own species name. They didn't really have that overarching term. And then in the 1860s, 1870s was this time called the Bone Wars, where two paleontologists, O.C. Marsh and E.D. Cope, were coming out west. There was this new technology called a railroad that allowed people to get out here easier and bring heavy stuff back easier. They came out to the west, and they were just going bananas looking for fossils, to the point that and they were very, very competitive about it. Keep in mind, there were no species of dinosaurs being found, so everything they found was pretty much new.
Yeah.
It doesn't work the same way today, unfortunately. But they would come out here and they would dig something up and take it back east and write it up and describe it. Sometimes they were even going as far as they would just write it up while they were out here and send the document back east. Now, a lot of those don't hold up over time.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have enough information, or we would get new information, more specimens.
Yeah. Same reason we lost Pluto as a planet.
Pretty much. Yeah. We found all these other planets, other planetesimals that were bigger than Pluto.
I'm like, well, Pluto can't be called that anymore. Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, so it's kind of just growth in knowledge and growth of interest. Growth of funding too, because funding is the hardest part of doing paleo.
Yeah. So if people don't want to sign up for these excursions that are offered at the Montana Dinosaur Center, there's still an experience to be had there, correct?
Yep. We have a museum gallery with the very first baby dinosaurs found in a nest anywhere in the world.
Oh my gosh. How cool is that? That's literally just down the road from us.
That's
That's
the neatest
amazing.
thing.
It's amazing.
We also have a model of Seismosaurus that's 137 feet long.
Oh.
And we also have on display the only real individual of Maiasaura that's still here in Montana.
Wow.
Look at that.
That's really cool.
Maiasaura is the Montana state fossil, so.
Oh. Trivia question.
You know what? That will come up in sometime in the future, and
Yeah.
I will know that, even though
I got to lock it in my brain.
Yeah.
That's important.
will be a big challenge for us.
Museum admission, how much is that? And when is the museum itself open?
So we open May 1st, and for 5 days a week. On June 1st, we open 7 days a week.
Okay.
And it's $5 for adults, $4 for people over 55, and $3 for kids 4 to 12.
Wow.
3 and under is free.
So you're not open during the winter, but you're doing stuff in the winter?
We're there, so if you give us a call and let us know,
Something might happen.
we'll probably open up for you. But we're in a town of 31. There's not enough traffic to make it worth having somebody behind the desk all
Sure,
the time.
in the middle of winter. Yeah.
We get that. We're here in the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Even with bigger population. Yeah.
Well, Cory, I've had a blast
Yeah,
learning,
thank you.
mostly confirming I was right,
Right.
about a lot of things I thought I knew about dinosaurs.
I learned a lot.
Yeah, I learned a lot. And I just love when people like Cory, who know so much about the different layers of our earth and world, because it's the things we don't think about on a daily basis.
No, but
You're
it's
like, oh,
just
yeah.
fascinating.
You remember how old everything is and how young we really are in what we're doing and how novice we are.
Right.
For sure.
It's pretty cool.
Are you going to go up the hill and take your picture with our T-Rex statue in the park?
No.
No.
It's like,
Yeah.
I can take
I
it
see
with
the
real
real
dinosaurs. Yeah. That's fair.
Don't really need to. So, folks, here's your call. If you want to do something the most unique you could ever do in Montana, it's going to be in north of Great Falls and Bynum. Get on the schedule to do some digging, to see Cory in action. Maybe digging. It's not guaranteed, but the Dinosaur Center is a fantastic experience, and it is on our dinosaur trail throughout the state of Montana. So again, if you want to make an entire dinosaur vacation, you can do that in Montana. If you want to do a multifaceted experience, we've got art, dinosaurs, hiking, Glacier National Park. You know, we can make whatever experience you want happen.
Can help you figure out your itinerary.
Happen. All here. So, folks, until we see your bright, smiling, happy, healthy, beautiful faces here in our fine, fine city, we hope you are creating amazing memories with your friends and family wherever you might be. See you soon.
We're No Dam Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing damn town. Damn, that felt good.